Hey everybody, so as you may have seen in the last video, I had a Super Soco CUX Ducati edition, which is a 50cc equivalent, and I mentioned in that video that I had a CPX on loan as well from Super Soco themselves directly to do some videos and a review on. And this is the CPX. It is a 125cc equivalent electric scooter. One of the key things about this bike, which has made it very, very, very popular in the UK as far as electric bikes go, I think this might actually be the most selling electric bike in the country, is the fact that this thing costs about £4,500 with 2 batteries. They've uprated the charges you get with the batteries now, so the charge time is vastly improved. Let me just take this charge tray out. There we go. With some electric bikes, if you have 1 battery, it will give you 30 miles an hour, and if you have 2, it will give you, say, 60 miles an hour. With this, you get the same performance with each battery. The only thing that's affected is the range. These are much easier to take out of this bike and smaller than, or seem to be smaller than the, oh, that cover's fallen off, than the ones that came in the TC Max. Or at least it's easier to get them out, presumably, because it's so much closer to the ground. I have a video getting the batteries out of a TC Max, and it's not something I could see people doing every single day, like, you know, to take a bike in and out to work. This is more doable, although it's still quite a chonk. So with 1 battery, you'll get about a 40-mile range, and with 2, you'll get about, well, it's just under 80, because you don't get double because you've got the extra weight of the second battery. But the point is, you could, if you can ride 40 miles in a day, or you're backwards and forwards, a courier or something, you could have your battery at your depot charging up and have the other one in the bike, buzz around, and then when you come back later on, you can switch the batteries over and have a fully charged bike. Or you can put both in it and double your range. You can charge them with that charger directly into the top of the batteries themselves, or you can charge both of them at the same time by using, you have to basically give this thing CPR to get that to close, that's one thing I will say. Which is just dug the side stand into the ground. You can charge both at the same time if you plug it in this little flappy doo here. Flappy doo! Now I'll point this out because a lot of you are going to have seen this and could be like, what is that all about? It has a centre stand, as you can see, but it's also got this tab here. This allows you to put a second side stand on it, so you can have a side stand on both sides. There is a reason for this somewhere. I don't know what it is. But it did make me think that in America, or should we say in England, if you are driving along down the road and you're allowed to park at the side of the road, you put the side stand down and lean the bike away from the road. Don't American bikes all lean to the left as well, which means that if you stop on your side of the road, you're going to lean it into the road rather than out of the road. I'm just wondering whether the side stand on a motorcycle is showing America that they're wrong. I am joking, honestly. The amount of comments I get from people from America who can't seem to process the idea that we drive on the other side of the road, it's quite funny. You know, it's more like a maxi scooter going from the size of it. Big seat on the back, you've got a big luggage rack going on back there. You know, you can probably see why with 2 batteries, $4,500, and the savings of having an electric, this is working out for a lot of people. I don't actually need the key in the bike because it's got the sort of keyless system where you can walk up to it and just, hang on, if it's unlocked, you can walk up to it and press the button, or you can turn it on and off with the fob. Alternatively, if you put it in the lock position, when it finishes doing all of that, it does this alarm thing where it kind of rocks the bike around and tries to stop you taking it away, walking away with it. Kind of works. Won't actually physically stop anyone, but it does make it more difficult. Anyway, let's turn that on, shove that in my pocket. Just turned it off with the button in my pocket. Just did it again. I hope that's not possible while I'm riding. No, it's not. Good. Okay, so like a lot of the Super Socos, you have power modes. You have 1 which is eco, 2 which is normal, 3 which is sport. When I use these things, honestly, I'm just going to put it in the maximum 1 and ride it as anyone would a petrol bike, because that's what people are going to be comparing this to in every single way, even though that's not fair in many ways. As you can see, we've got 2 displays for the battery here, A and B. now, and that's your range up here of 85 miles. Other controls on this bike completely normal, you know, high beam, low beam. Again, Super Soco, I've said this before, I'll say it again, could you stop putting these switches on these bikes? This is not a motorcycle switch. Basically, the indicators are switch to cancel. You can't push to cancel. I hate them. I absolutely hate them. I did get used to using one when I had the TC Max before, but it is horrible and they do not belong in motorcycles. Stop doing it. Another thing I'll point out, because this might actually be very useful to couriers and stuff, is our mirrors are here, which I will also point out are the easiest to knock out of place mirrors I've ever seen in my entire life. Oh, there are screws that might be able to tighten that up a little bit. I'll have to look into that. But yeah, they're way too loose. But that should be able to be adjusted with that screw on the back. But so what I was saying is you have mirrors here, but you also, because I don't know, guessing cheaper, you also have mirror holes here. Because this master cylinder has a mirror hole cast into it, so they got that, but then they also got switchgear, which has got mirror holes in it, so we've got both. But if you use, like, you know, a phone or something on a RAM mount, something like that, I don't know, for if you're a courier, that could be very useful. You have a USB port down here again. The screen on this, I'll also point out, is right in the way if you're tall, and it is 100% non-adjustable. I know it's good for aerodynamics, and it obviously reduces, it gives you more miles and stuff, but it's just really in the way for me. I just wish it could be further forward and not directly at my face. This bike has got something, though, that I think is very interesting. We're in 3, which is drive mode. If we press this, it goes into F. Now, that's for basically pushing the bike or just crawling. Okay? Because if you try and push an electric, which it isn't powered, you get resistance on the motor. But for the same reason, you press that. This bike has reverse. And no, it is not easy riding a bike in reverse. You'd think, well, if I can go forwards, it'd be simple, right? No. Even dragging your feet, it gets very difficult to balance. But yeah, let's get going. The handling on this is pretty good, actually. Feels good. The suspension on it is much, much improved compared to the CUX. That feels very sort of toy-like in ways. This actually feels like a bike. It feels like a quality bike with reasonable suspension. It's a little bit on the firm side, but you're going to get that with electrics always, because it helps with efficiency. Right, I'm just going to get down to 20, and then I'm just going to open the throttle up and see how long it takes to go up to 40. I've got cars coming. There we go, 19, 20. Close enough. There we go, 30, 35, 40, almost 40. There we go. Takes a little time. Now, it took a little time to get up to 40, and that concerns me because obviously, being a 125cc equivalent, I want to see at least 60 miles an hour out of this thing. Especially as it's got larger wheels on it. You know, it's got 2 batteries in it. It should have enough power to do it. So when I take this on the dual carriageway, that's going to be a little bit interesting. I'm hoping to see some better figures. Well, as it turns out, I can out-accelerate a van. Can you put your foot down? Oh, he only wants to do 30 as well. Okay, I wasn't envisaging this be the problem. Oh, we're up to 45, 46, 49, 50. Oh, okay. 54, 55, 57, 57, 58. Come on, let's do 60, because that's all I want to see, 60. Just 60, yeah, nice. Surprising, I wasn't expecting that. And yeah, I think we've peaked at 60 on the nose. Oh, and I'm also indicating, I didn't realise, because I can't cancel by pressing. This is the thing, I wish it just had a little bit more pep off the line. Handling is alright. And that's the key with this, you need it to have good handling because you want to be able to keep up the momentum. No, don't touch the brakes where you don't need to. Just try and get the thing through. Okay, so let's see how it goes. 18, 19, 20, 24, 26, 27, 28, 28, 29. It can't quite do 30 up this hill, but I'm quite impressed by the fact that it is doing a 30, 31. Oh, careful now. Yeah, that's actually not too bad. I'm actually quite pleasantly surprised by how well this is doing, because when I first got on it I was like, surprisingly it's not that punchy, or it's not as punchy as I was expecting. But of course the electrics is always a trade-off, and if you want more miles, well then don't give them more power to start with, because a little less power for all of the time equals a lot more miles. You really can eke out a battery on these, but I don't want to ride it like that. I want to ride it like a normal bike. I mean, let's face it, I'm just trying to do the speed limits here. Oh, turn! Come on, turn. I'm not range testing this one today, because I do plan on doing a range test of both the two bikes that I have. Today, this is the first ride, basically, where I've actually been able to experience using it with all of its power, and on hills and things. Oh, go on then. I'll take a slightly different route back. This will be completely silent running, because it's still going to be gravity powered. Oh god, it's not slowing down! That's one of the disadvantages actually of having no engine with engine braking, or no regen, is you have to ride your brakes going down hills, which obviously heats them up and will reduce the life expectancy of your brake pads quite significantly. I'm starting to think that these bikes don't need anti-lock brakes, because they definitely haven't got anti-lock brakes, at least on the rear. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not as instantly enthralled and having as much fun as I did on the CUX, but I think that's just because it's so small. This is very utilitarian, and you know, people are giving the electrics quite a lot of grief over price and range and stuff like that. This answers a lot of those questions, and we're still in the very early days. You know, $4.5 with two batteries, 80 mile range, or 40 if you're going to charge them one at a time. In a lot of people's context, that probably works out, and actually they could use that opposed to some of the other options out there. Very nice of him. It's very unusual that the cars give way to bikes down these places. I'm being pelted with flies right now. Okay, I want to keep this one short, so I'm going to dive down here. You can literally see, this is the brow of the hill. There's the other side, with all of the fields and all of the things, and the places that I explore, and the creatures that I see, all live within there. So let's leave that there for the first ride, because that basically answers an awful lot of questions about this thing. You will notice it has larger wheels on it. I think they're probably like 15s. They're not 17. 16! There you go. 180, 16. But yeah, as I say, $4.5 with two batteries. That is also with the 20% off of the government discount if you're eligible, but pretty much everyone's eligible. 40 mile range out of one battery, about 80 out of the other. I know a lot of people are like, I want 200 miles. This is true, okay? Statistically, this is true. Like, most people in the country do less than 30 miles to commute. So if everyone's saying they want 200 miles, like, you do not need that. You might want it, that's fine. But you don't need that to do your job generally. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. I would appreciate it. If you're new here, please subscribe. And if you want to help support this channel, and this is the only way this channel is made possible is by the support of the audience, please consider joining my Patreon. There's lots of benefits, and it costs you like £1 a month. And that is capped at that. Until the next one, bye-bye.